Guys, there really is no way to do this without full spoilers, so if you have not seen the finale for Loki, go watch the finale for Loki and stay off the internet until you have. If you have seen it, or you just don't care, welcome. Well guys, we have officially entered the multiverse of madness. Loki Season 1 has wrapped, and I say Season 1 because if you stuck around for the end credit scene, you'll know they confirmed we are getting a Season 2. Now let's dive into this. First, I really wish that Kevin Feige did not confirm that Jonathan Majors was playing Kang the Conqueror. You go into this show knowing he's going to be Kang in Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania. So when he was revealed, I immediately knew who it was. Although I will say I didn't expect it to be a fake out, so I guess on one hand I didn't know who it was because it wasn't Kang, but on the other hand, I knew it was Kang that was at least involved. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna back up. So this episode starts with Loki and Sylvie just being welcomed into the Citadel. And Miss Minutes had called it the Citadel when they get there, because she's there. She said the Citadel, and my first thought was, Kang's Citadel. Kang has a Citadel. So Miss Minutes is talking with Loki and Sylvie, saying they can rule, they can be king of whatever they want, and then she just dips and goes back to Renslayer, who really isn't in this episode, is she? Renslayer shows up at the start, talks with Mobius, then leaves, and she says she's going in search of free will, and then we never see her again. She'll probably pop back up in Multiverse of Madness or Quantumania, considering, the title of Multiverse of Madness really tells you all you need to know about what's going on in that. And also, Kang is confirmed to be in Quantumania, and in the comics, Kang and Ravonna Renslayer are a thing. My question about Renslayer, though, is whether or not she's in on it. Because she seemed like she was in the dark at certain points, but also, she's always talking about this grand plan, and I don't know. I can't get a read on her. I guess when she pops back up next, we'll know definitively where she lies. That's when the door opens and we get our first glimpse of Jonathan Majors, and he was great in the episode. He pretty much stole it. He had such a screen presence, and I should have known it wasn't Kang the moment he started talking, because he was so lively and fun, and I was my first thought was, oh no, because everything I know about Kang points to the opposite. But then it was a fake out, because that wasn't Kang, so that was pretty cool. I'm going to call him He Who Remains for the time being, because I think they set him up to be He Who Remains. He said he's had a ton of names, but I'm going with He Who Remains. So He Who Remains is giving a lot of exposition about the TVA and the timeline, and I think something cool, another tangent here, there's so much to cover in this. I kind of like that the timeline is like a literal thing that you can see from the Citadel, and you can see the branches coming off of it, and it's just a cool visual. And speaking of, I know I'm jumping around, but I didn't know where to put this in the review, so I'm just kind of slapping it here. The episode starts with going forward and backwards in the timeline, and they play the song from the end of Endgame. We hear all this dialogue, and it kind of felt like a little conclusion. You're gonna be like, hey, remember all that stuff? This one thing ties all of it together. Just thought that was a cool little thing that they put in. Okay, you know what? Screw it. You guys get the point. Citadel's exposition, talking about the TVA, you guys get it. Let's move on to the ending, because that's the big thing. So the third act of this episode, it just one thing after the other. It starts moving so quick, my jaw dropped to the floor at the 30-minute mark. So Sylvie and Loki are fighting, because He Who Remains says if he dies, there will be another multiversal war, and Sylvie wants revenge, and Loki's like, well, hold on. He might be right, and we might want to prevent this. But Sylvie doesn't care, so they're going to fight. And Loki kind of gets her to stop, and he's talking, and then they kiss, which means I did not lose a bet that I made, thankfully. And after that, I knew she was going to betray him. I thought she was going to stab him, because her knife went out of frame, and I was like, she's gonna stab him, but then you heard it hit the floor, so she didn't stab him. Instead, She kind of sent him through the gateway back into the TVA. And God, can we talk about Loki's face at the end? He's so sad. I mean, the woman he loves didn't care about him. She just needed him to get to He Who Remains. And then they reveal later, you know what? I can't get into it yet. Sylvie basically represents the worst parts about Loki. I mean, she just pretended to be his friend until she got face to face with He Who Remains, and she's like, oh, well, you're not on my side, get out of here, I don't care, this guy's all I want. He said her problem is that she doesn't trust anyone. He was right. So Sylvie kills He Who Remains, and then we see all these timelines start to branch. We see the literal timeline start to branch, we see the TVA screen, and they're all crossing the red line. Just a bunch of them. Mobius and B-15 watch all of this go down, and they aren't, like, they're saying they're not supposed to do anything. I didn't know why. At first, they did a good job of keeping this secret from us, because I assumed it was B-15 and real Mobius the whole time, and I thought when they said they weren't supposed to do anything, it's because they knew Loki did something, and that whatever Loki did was probably the right thing, which is what Loki was trying to do. Like, he became a hero at the end there. But that's not what it was. What happened is Kang took control. So here's how it went. Kang is a villain, big villain. He likes to mess with time. So the TVA was created by He Who Remains, because Kang is a variant. It was created to kind of keep things in check and make sure Kang can't treat time as his little McDonald's play place. And so he said the only thing preventing a multiversal war was basically him not giving anyone, free will. Once he's gone, Kang's coming in, he's taking control of the TVA and just letting time have a field day, and that's how we get Multiverse of Madness. Moving on. This was the real heartbreaker. Loki gets to Mobius, starts talking to him, but Mobius has no clue who Loki is. Because now the timeline's a mess. This is not our Mobius. So Loki lost the woman he loved, and then his best friend. He lost everything, basically. Then he sees the statue of Kang the Conqueror front and center in the TVA. And I think that should have been the first time we ever learned that Kang was involved, instead of knowing he was going to be in the MCU, prior. Then we cut to credits. I just realized. So remember in episode 1, when Mobius said the whole purpose of a Loki is to lose? And they basically just pave the way for other people to kind of, do their thing. That's exactly what happened, because Loki was just Sylvie's puppet to get her where she needed to be, and then he lost everything. That's some genius writing. There is no end credits scene, but if you stayed through the credits, they did confirm, boom, Loki will be back in Season 2. When's Season 2 gonna be? I feel like next year would be the most logical, because next year's Multiverse of Madness, but I could also see 2023 maybe picking up with after Ant-Man and the Wasp, since Kang's in that. Ends on the dirtiest of cliffhangers, setting up the multiversal war, but I want to talk about that in a different video, because we're getting our next major storyline after the whole Infinity War Endgame thing, so I kind of want to devote a video just to that, and just focus on the episode in this video, so that should be up soon. Hopefully it won't take too long, hoping today, hopefully. Oh yeah, one more thing. This guy on the poster, he wasn't in the show one bit. He was in the trailer, he was front and center on the poster, never came into the show in any way. Unless maybe they already started filming Season 2, or that's something we'll see in Multiverse of Madness, I don't know, but they knowingly gave him a spot on the poster knowing that he wasn't in the show. I don't know why. They did tease him becoming King of Asgard, but that didn't happen in this show, so why was he so, front and center on the poster? Anyway, guys, that's my review for Loki Episode 6 for all time. Always. What did you think of the episode? Are you excited for, the continuation of this? No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Let me know all that down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ, and that's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.